All right, hey guys, Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, today I want to take a look at going from tight front to stack front change-ups. All right, how we are going to move back and forth between probably some broken stack stuff to some traditional stack stuff, trying to leave the same personnel group on the field and why we need to do so or why I would like to do so. Make sure you check out some of our partners, Game Strat, Sideline Replay System we use. All right, Dome Hats, it's the headwear company for Play Fast Football in the school I'm currently at. Baker Sports, who does some work with Play Fast Football and the school that I'm currently at, providing uniforms and some of our spirit packs and some other things for the staff. JustPlayFB, which is the best play drawing tool on the market, and I currently use it at the school that I am coaching with right now. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. We also have those at the school I'm currently at. HighandTight, ball security training aid, which teaches kids the proper position and points of pressure of a football with instant auditory feedback. And StandPerfect, which is a training aid that can help you develop stances and get more reps in stances, eliminating buzzwords with younger kids especially, okay? So if you are a team that likes to use tight front, or if you're a three-high safety team, one of the things that you're going to have to deal with all the time is people are going to draw the tight front beaters and the three-high beaters, and they're going to ask you, how are you going to defend this? How are you going to stop this, right? So you're going to get, when you're running tight front stuff, right, you know you're going to get all of your pin pull schemes, all right? So whether it be, just traditional pin, pull, leave the center on an island, maybe block back and try and get the backside guard out, all right? Just all the leverage issues, things like that are, prominent when teams know you're going to be tight front, right? You're going to get some of the fold stuff. So at some point you're going to get the double fold, whether it be guards out, double fold from the tackles inside. You may even get a third player folded up on the inside. They're going to ask you how you're going to fit that. Okay, so that when you're a tight front three-high team and you're a light box theory team, okay, so if you're, obviously that's standard two-back stuff. If you were 2x2, the standard, you're going to be a 3-1 box. Okay, so that if you're going to be that 3-1 box, that teams are going to try and draw up and get you into situations where they're going to say, okay, well, if that's the box you're playing, how would you fit, all these different things that you may need to fit, which obviously as an offensive theory, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to, if you had the marker last or if you had the chalk last, you're going to look at that box, you're going to look at that, all right, light box theory, and you're going to draw that up and you're going to say, hey, how would you guys stop this in a tight front three-high, or how would you defend that in the tight front three-high? People are going to draw up tight end sets, and they're going to say, all right, are you going to try and stay tight front? So if they draw up like tight end tray and they say, okay, well, what are you going to do to tight end tray? Are you going to stay tight front? Are you going to bump the backers? All right, so if you drew up just your normal tight front philosophy, three-high with the middle safety playing off at 3. All right, you're going to draw that up, and then people are going to draw up different things to beat the tight front. How are you going to do it versus tight end? How are you going to do it versus tray, right? Which is all logical. All right, these are all things that we know we have to work on. But my other answer to them is going to be, okay, well, we're not just going to be tight front. So having the ability to go from tight front back to your normal 3-3 stack, from the broken stack to the normal stack, now you're going to ask those teams, okay, well, when you're running these theories, how are you now going to run them against this? So that they have to have other answers, right? So that picture right there with the light 3-2 box, three-high safety structure, all right, that's obviously one picture. But with the same personnel on the field, if we can then go back, all right, and play a more traditional 3-3 stack box with the same personnel on the field, and now, all right, get yourself into that look, all right, now all those same things that somebody wants to draw up versus tight front, all the tight front three-high beaters, well, now they've got to be able to draw it up and run it versus a heavier box or a 3-3 stack box, right? So that would obviously be 3-3 stack box to a tray picture, right? So now we've got 6 in the box, not 5 in the box. We still have an overhang out there. We've bumped the middle safety, all right, out, and the middle safety has now become our free safety. So one of the things that I want you to look at least for what I'm thinking about doing, is we have to be able to play personnel that has some hybrid players to it, so that when we go to this change, all right, it is something that we can go from tight front three-high straight to 3-3 stack traditional split field coverage. Why? Because if they're going to gear up all their tight front beaters, if we go 3 high with a certain personnel group and they know they're going to get a bunch of tight front or a bunch of shade 5-4 eye on the backside, if they know what they're going to get because of the personnel, then it's going to be easy for them to have the chalk last and kind of gear up the beaters with the personnel. If we can keep the same personnel on the field, so to me, 2 of the big keys become who that spur, nickel, Sam, whoever that is now in your personnel, however you want to look at it. It's really not a nickel anymore. It could be a spur, it could be a Sam, and then who the middle safety is. Okay, if we can train those guys in more of a hybrid fashion to where the middle safety understands how to play 3 high structures, but he also understands how to act as a free safety in traditional split field. Okay, if we can do those things, which now means in our 3 high structure, we may want to play some of the same 3-by-1 coverages. And I'll give you a look at that in a minute to kind of show you how, when you are building things, you want to keep in mind how to keep responsibilities relatively the same so you can switch between packages without a lot of learning adjustments, right? So for us, anybody that's watched anything I've ever talked about, you know that I've always taught the left safety and the right safety as hybrid spots. We've always taught those guys to be passing strength guys and away from passing strength guys. We've always taught them to be able to play on top of the roof high, and we've always taught them to be able to play down as either a D-gap force player or the palms dropper, swing deep a 3 player. So you guys know over the last 10, 15 years, whether it was 4-2-5 or 3-3 stack, I've almost always played with left and right players. And the reason we did that is because teams that were shifting, trading, and motioning were getting us to set our strength a certain way. And then they were shifting, trading, and motioning and putting their players away from the guys that were our strength. And now we got into a situation where we either had to have FIB checks or certain shift and trade checks. When I started going left safety, right safety, and a free safety that will travel, then we started getting into being able to play whatever we wanted into the boundary if we wanted to. We could match your formation into the boundary. And then if you shifted, traded, or motioned us, we really didn't have to worry per se about checking into certain things because both of those safeties were able to play to the trip side, away from the trip side. They were able to play on top of the roof. They were able to play down. So we've always taught that way. But now what I'm looking at is making the nickel and the middle safety hybrid guys as well. So now again, the nickel is no longer going to be the nickel in this package. So we're going and looking at playing a traditional 3-3 linebacker look so that $sign right there really functions more like a Sam linebacker. He's a 3rd linebacker. And when we play him in coverage, he's never going to be on top of the roof and he's never going to play too vertical, okay, in any of our 3-by-1 checks, right? So we have to understand our personnel and we have to understand that we can only do things with the personnel that's in the game. The middle safety is going to be somebody who goes from 3 high, all right, and being able to play the 3 high spot to also acting as a traditional free safety in split field coverage. And the reason we want to do that is so that when we carry things, there's carryover built in. So here's an example, all right? The example would be 3-by-1. So if we got 3-by-1 and 3 high, a lot of people will say, all right, well, just play that guy off of 3 vertical and play your normal split field coverage rules. He now has 3 vertical, bracket the backside, and you can do that, okay? But what are you going to do if you're in a different package? Are you going to be able to play the same 3-by-1 coverage, right? So everybody, or at least most people, understand that our base 3-by-1 deal is what we call mixed coverage, right? So from the 3 high safety look, if we allow the middle safety to play the high part of the stubby, all right, special, whatever people call that coverage, we call it mixed, mini, stubby, all right, whatever it may be. It's basically X out number 1, palms on 2 and 3 with 2 safeties. What that's going to do is that's going to let that Sam linebacker in there. He's going to play the swing deep of 4. He's going to play like a palms dropper, all right, in this coverage. Okay, the middle safety will play the high part. On the backside, we can now bracket number 1, however we want to bracket number 1. So we're good to the single. All right, we can kick the backers, might even think about kicking the front, possibly shading the front a little bit more to the trips. There's a lot of different things you can do to take away gaps or eliminate some responsibilities of guys that may be in coverage, right? So now when we present that picture when we're 3 high, so that when we go back to 3-3 stack, okay, if the middle safety stays, if I still play the left safety and the middle safety, so now the middle safety becomes the free safety, we're still going to play that mix or that stubby coverage the same way. All right, that Sam backer is still the swing deep of 4, palm stropper on that side. And now the Mike and the Will, whether we need to boss this or whether we need to push or pull this, either way, it doesn't matter. Now we can go from the same 3 high 3x1 deal to the same 3-3 stack 3x1 deal, right? So it makes everything similar. Guys have similar jobs. He's playing the same job. He's playing the same job. He's playing the same job, whether we're 3 high structure tight or we're base 3-3 stack. Okay. Now, obviously, when you get into the 3-3 stack, you're probably going to start moving some guys a little bit. You're going to start sending a 4th, right? You're going to start dealing some people. And what we want to make sure is that when we start to deal and send a 4th, I want to make sure that I can play all the same guys in a lot of the same coverages, because that's where you build a carryover, right? So the idea for us, or at least for me, is I want to be tight front, light box theory, 3 high, because I think it takes away some things from the offense. I think it forces the offense to do certain things within their package. All right. And I think that the 3rd high safety in the middle kind of confuses some quarterbacks and some OCs sometimes, whether it's middle of the field open or middle of the field closed, depending on the coverages you carry. Right. But then there's going to be some tight end deals and some 21, 22, 12 deals where you're going to want to go back and maybe be a heavier box. Right. So if we want to go back to being that heavier box rather than change personnel. All right. And I'm not talking about short yardage goal line. I'm just talking about week to week, game plan to game plan. We want to leave that same personnel on the field. If they're our best 11 and those are the guys we want to play, how can we defend the other things we need to defend with the same 11? All right. And to me, the simplest way to do that is to go back to traditional 3-3 stack theories. Now we can start slanting, sending a 4th, plugging if we need to. But we can play the same split field coverages behind it as long as we understand how to tie our concepts together and make sure that there's carryover between those concepts. And the first thing for me is making sure that the middle safety also understands how to play free safety to the passing strength of a split field deal. And then making sure that Sam linebacker is put in a position where he's not asked to do multiple things when we're in 3 high and change them when we're in split field. All right. The only thing that's going to be different from him is how often he's in the box to outside the box. So that kid's going to have to be able to make reads from inside the box, and he's going to have to be able to make reads from maybe off a tackle or a triangle to a sidecar back or a pistol back or whatever it may be if he's outside the box. All right. But in coverage, he's going to do most of the same things. Okay. So anytime you're playing or you say you're going to play some tight front 3 high stuff, you're going to get people that are going to draw things up and ask you, how do you defend this? How do you stop this? How do you fit that? Well, if you know what I'm in and you know where everybody is, then you can draw plays that are going to beat it. That's fairly simple. All right. So if you carry another package, now when people ask, all right, well, how do you fit this in tight 3 high? And now you say, okay, well, maybe I wouldn't fit that in tight 3 high. If that's what I'm getting, I would play more of a stack, true 6-man box or a true 8-man front or wherever you want to look at it and say, okay, look, that play, now how do you block it versus that box or that? Well, we wouldn't run that versus that. Okay, it's the same argument. If you wouldn't run that versus that front, then don't ask me to fit that play out of tight 3 high, right? It's going to be the same thing all the time. Whoever has the chalk last is going to win. That's why I think as a defense, the more things you can do with the same personnel on the field, the better off you're going to be, because the offense, these guys are all smart enough now. They know if you're in tight, they're going to have their beaters. Now, the one thing that I've always argued is if I know what the beaters are to tight, now I can cut my practice plan down because I can really focus on stopping the runs that I'm going to see versus the tight front, because that's everybody's go-to, right? So it's kind of works hand in hand. There's a good, there's a bad. We've got to be able to fit things. You're going to get into situations when you're in tight 3 high and they're going to have a pretty good beater, and you've got to be able to fit it and get it on the ground. All right. And then you're going to be able to figure out, what do we like tight 3 high versus? What do we not like it versus? Then we've got to have another package. I want to go to another package that has the same personnel group on the field. So there's going to be some hybrid positions. There's going to be some multiple teachings to some of those guys. But if I can keep their assignments in pass coverage and their run fits close to the same as possible, then I think we're on the right track. All right. I appreciate you guys, all right, for watching and following along with Play Fast. We're approaching 23,000 subscribers now, which is absolutely unbelievable. If you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. Make sure you thumbs up, thumbs down any of the videos. All right. It lets me know If you like the video, don't like the video, if I need to change how I deliver it, if you want to see me do a video, leave a comment. I respond to every comment that I can that I see on my end. As always, if you are a subscriber, turn your notifications on so you know anytime I go on YouTube Live or anytime I put out a new video, you get that notification. All right. I hope everything's going well for you guys. Stay safe out there. Hopefully we're kind of back to normal. If you got spring football coming up, good luck to you guys. Good luck on the clinic circuit out there, whoever's speaking and anybody that's going to clinic, stay safe. All right. And hopefully you guys learn a bunch. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast, and I will see you guys next time.